Hi my friend, welcome back to Keto in the Chaos. If this is your first time visiting, my name is Tammy and I like to talk about how I've lost over 100 pounds on a ketogenic way of eating. And this is my little buddy Jasper, who is here with me today because all the kids have gone to church today and because Jasper has a little bit of a stuffy nose and so he's going to stay home with me today. Yeah, you're staying home. Anyway, today's weigh-in day and it's totally freezing cold outside. The fall weather has set in and it has brought with it some gloomy rain. And I am going to have to find a new place to videotape inside. I don't think this spot's going to work next week with all the kids home. It's our church's general conference next week and we will be watching it on television, so I'm not exactly sure how the weigh-in is going to go. Wish me luck. It's going to be a challenge. I may just have to hole up in my bathroom or something crazy. We'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get to the weigh-in because I know that's why you're here, and that way you can go ahead and find out how things are going in part if that is what you need to do today. And if you'd like to stick around and chat, I have some interesting things I'd love to share. So last week's weigh-in, I had lost, I think 8.6 pounds and I was down to 268 pounds. My highest weight was 374 pounds and today I weighed in at 264 pounds. That's a 4-pound loss for this week. I also lost 2.5 inches, which is fairly decent, and I'm pretty happy with that number. It has been a crazy week like always, and like I like to say, if I can do a ketogenic way of eating, anyone can. I'm on the go almost 24/7. I have 9 children that I take care of, and they're very supportive of my way of eating, and they love to encourage me on my way. This little guy is very interested in my electrolyte water. I have 2 tablespoons of Solé water in here, so I don't want to let him get too much of it because he is gonna, and that's not fun for me since I do cloth diapers as well. But I had to get this out because it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't had any of my electrolytes for the day. That's not true. I actually had my magnesium this morning and there's been plenty of potassium in my meals, but I haven't gotten my sodium in and so I'm feeling a little low energy. I think I'm also feeling a little bit low energy because of the weather and a few other things, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today is dealing with the keto way of eating while having depression. As moms, we often struggle. There's so many that struggle with depression. I know so many that are near me that struggle, and I have struggled since I was probably about, I'd like to say 9 or 10 is when I'm aware that I was struggling with depression, though I didn't admit it to myself until about 2 years ago when my own son was diagnosed. So, yes, that's a baby. Can you say hi to the baby? Say hi. Do you want to go play? Can you go play? Okay, then you have to shush, because they can't hear mommy talking, okay? Mwah. Okay, so along with the gloomy weather, along with that can tend to come, a little bit of down feelings. And especially for those with depression, it can be quite a problem. I know that I usually dread the winter because it seems so long here, and I don't love being cold. I don't love the gloom and gloom, the clouds and the snow, and it's just not my favorite thing. It tends to bring a lot of depression, and this time last year I was quite depressed because I was fast approaching my heaviest weight of 374 pounds and starting to be really afraid that my life was going to be more complicated because of my weight and that I was going to need actual medical help and maybe even in-home, nursing care. It was that bad. So people seem so shocked when I tell them I've lost over 100 pounds. they're like, you weren't that big. And I'm thinking, did you pay any attention to me? Because I was a mess. Anyway, so it was about the age of 10 that I started struggling with my weight. It's also about the age of 10 that I started struggling with depression. I didn't really admit it to myself until about 2 years ago when my own son was diagnosed. And when we were going through the inquiries and things like that to get his diagnosis, I began to see a pattern in myself that made me realize that I have had depression all my life and just didn't realize that I was coping in many other ways. I have learned to cope through social activities. Being around people is one of my best remedies. I have learned to cope by doing things I love, like I am a photographer, as you can see behind me. I love photos and I love to take them and be an artist that way, and that tends to bring joy into my life. But of course, the main way that I have learned to cope with my depression is by eating things that are not good for me. I was watching Sarah Pearls of Wisdom, and she was talking about super palatable foods, and yes, that's exactly what I used as my drug of choice. I was addicted to super palatable foods and their effect on me, and that's how I coped with my depression. So I've never actually been medicated. I've never actually been medicated, and I want to continue that. And miracle upon miracle, smack dab in the middle of last winter, I found a ketogenic way of eating, and it has literally changed my life. Not just in the weight department, but also in the depression area. Within about 2 weeks, I felt so much better. My moods tended to flatten out, almost as if I was on my own kind of Prozac. Okay, anyway, what I was saying is that my moods are really even, and I can't even seem to stoop down into that really deep depression that I used to wallow in all the time. And that's been such a lovely side effect that I did not expect of this way of eating, and it's probably the thing that has saved me the most, the thing that has made my life the most different, is that my depression has very much evened out. But I do still have down days, and I noticed, especially yesterday, it's not only starting to get to be gloomy fall, but it was also my son's birthday party yesterday. Yesterday morning we had the opportunity to go and see some of my mom's family that we haven't seen in a really long time, and I was really looking forward to it. And it was lovely chatting with people that I haven't seen in years, and I enjoyed it so much. But of course they had pizza and desserts and fun things to eat, and I was fine because I brought my food with me and I knew that it was going to be pizza in advance, and I didn't feel deprived. I had my lovely food, and I got to talk about keto a little bit. Got to hear my sister preaching about keto. She's a new keto convert, and I'm super excited to hear her talking about electrolytes to my sister-in-law, and I didn't even need to say anything because she was saying it all for me, which is fantastic. It was a lovely time. Then we came home and I went straight into party mode for my son. We also had pizza at his party because that's what he wanted to have. It's his 12th birthday and he wanted to have pizza and movies, invite his friends over. So of course we had to have all of the snacks. We had to have my nemesis, popcorn, which is one of the things that I have the hardest time giving up. We also had gummy bears, which is another of my trigger foods, and various other treats lying around. And then of course cake, ice cream, that kind of thing, soda. And I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed with how many foods were around me that I had to just say no to. And I was able to do it. I didn't give in and take a bite of anything. I was able to handle just eating my regular dinner, which was delicious, and all of that. So right after the party, I had to rush out the door. I only got about 5 minutes to eat my dinner, so I didn't really get to enjoy it that much. And we had to head out to a conference for me and my daughters. The conference was very uplifting. It really healed my heart, and I enjoyed it so much. But of course, as soon as the conference was over, what do they have? Pies. Pies and ice cream everywhere. It was crazy. I'm like, why do all the women's meetings for church have to end in dessert? For those who have food allergies like my daughter and who's celiac and who have troubles with carbohydrates, it's just killer to have to be faced with temptations so often. But didn't eat any pie, helped my daughter find one that was dairy-free, thank goodness, and they were able to enjoy their pie and come home, and we were so exhausted we had to go straight to bed. So sometimes, you know, when you're faced with that many temptations and when the weather is gloomy and dark and it's starting to feel overwhelming to stay on this path, those thoughts of depression can start to kick in, and your immediate reaction is to want to eat. Even now, after almost 9 months on this way of eating, my initial reaction is, oh, I just want to give up and eat those gummy bears. Oh, I just want to give in and eat that pizza and just have it be easy for once. Well, it's not worth it. I know it's not worth it, and I just have to keep fighting through. And I know that if I eat those foods, I'm only going to feel worse. I know from experience that they trigger my depression, that I'm going to sink into those really low lows, that I'm going to want to escape from my life and run away. I know this, like in here. But the whole rest of me is telling me, you're going to feel better if you eat this, yeah, or drink the milk. You have your nut milk? Is that Monster? Monster! Hurr. Okay, go drink your nut milk. Over there. Over there. Bye. I just wanted to talk about that and remind you guys that even when it's hard, even when you're struggling with feelings of sadness or, you know, overwhelm or stress, that turning to those fast foods, turning to those sugary foods, turning to those super palatable foods is not going to help. It is not the answer. You need to stick to your way of eating. You need to stick to your plan. You can make adjustments if you need to, but you can't completely jump off the wagon over every difficult thing, because everything in life is difficult. And every day you're going to face difficult problems, and you're going to face things that are hard, and you're going to be busy, and you're going to be running and be out. You can't just let yourself give in to those easy fallback plans like you used to. So stick with it, stick with me, and stay on the keto train with me. We're going to make it, and we're going to get to a place where we're so healthy and happy and we're so relieved. I know last night when I was struggling, I said to my friend that it's really hard right now to be looking at all this pizza and cake, I mean, right in my house, right in my own house, and to say no to all of it. But I know tomorrow when I step on the scale, I'm going to be glad I did. And sure enough, I was. Getting down to 264 was huge for me. 110 pounds lost from the beginning, which is a huge milestone. Last time I was on a weight loss journey, 110 is as far as I got. So I'm looking forward to that 111 and beyond. I'm so grateful for all of my new subscribers. I have reached 117 as of today, which is totally awesome and fun. And I'm excited to share all of my little tidbits of wisdom with you. If there's anything that I can help you with, any details I can help you iron out, let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick around so that we can spend more time chatting together. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope my baby wasn't too annoying. And I'll see you guys next time.